Welcome to Job Talk. Today we're going to be talking about the job search, LinkedIn profile. My name is Mac Mayer. I'm the event director for Kettle Space. We're a co-working community based in NYC. We turn hospitality spaces into co-working spaces. A big part of our community is just coming up with events to keep our community engaged. During the pandemic, we've done a ton of virtual events, which you can all see on our YouTube page. And you'll also get a link to join our online platform, which is free to join. You can network with our community. It's a great place to find jobs, it's a job board, and just kind of chat with like-minded professionals. So a bit of our host, Jason, known as the job search coach. She's a former executive recruiter who knows what it takes to be successful in the job seeking market. She's got 16 years in the industry. She's helped professionals sell themselves and land opportunities. So she knows what she's talking about. I'm really excited to hear her presentation today. Take it away.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hi, everybody. Thank you again for joining me on this third seminar. And today we're going to be covering a lot of different things. So I'm going to share my screen. 1 second. All right, here we go. Okay, so hopefully you can all see my screen. And we're going to cover 3 different topics today. They all relate to each other. They all could be webinars within themselves, but we're going to do a nice little overview so that you can get started on job searching today, if that is something that you want to do. And if you want to reach me, if you want to do any one-on-one coaching, my website is jaidethejobsearchcoach.com. I also have a podcast you can follow along with different job seeking tips, resume tips, interview tips. And these are just tried and true things that work, that have helped many other people, and that are just standard common sense job searching advice that I think that, can benefit anybody. So anyway, we're going to cover how to make a LinkedIn profile that works, how to construct a job search, and also a cover letter, because you're going to need the cover letter with the job search. Okay, and these are the 3 different topics. So we're going to talk about the back end and the front end of your LinkedIn profile, because both are very important, meaning the settings and the front page. Second, we're going to talk about creating a schedule for yourself while you're job searching, and also different searching techniques, as well as your cover letter and how to make a great cover letter so you can make one for yourself. And after each section, I will stop and ask if anybody has any questions. Okay, so I promise I only have a couple slides like this. Most of them are a little less complicated. So the first thing you want to do is, I'm showing my LinkedIn profile. So if you look at the screen on your left, the first thing you want to do is you want to click on your little face, the little button over here, and then you want to click on where it says settings and privacy, where I have the orange arrow. Then you want to click on, if you look to the right, where it says visibility, and you want to go through all of these different line items here and answer them to be as visible as possible. So for me, I'm visible as possible because I need it for my business. And you want to be as visible as possible so that people can connect with you if you are looking for a job. Okay, so in that same spot, you're also going to click on communications, which is right underneath visibility. And you want to make sure that you are also visible so people can find you. So for instance, you want everybody to be able to connect with you. You want people to be able to send you messages. You want people to, all these things, you want to make sure that they're open. And, you can read through them yourself. LinkedIn is good about detailing and describing what these things are. But again, being as available and open as possible will increase your chances of somebody contacting you, or somebody finding you for an opportunity. After that, you also want to click on where it says data privacy on the right-hand side of the screen. This is very important. because I've highlighted this one section right here, which is job application settings, where it says job seeking preferences. When you click on job application settings, that's where you can upload your resume, and you can have it stored in the back end of LinkedIn so that when you're applying for jobs, you can automatically send your resume when you apply, and you don't have to keep uploading it. And I would also upload your cover letter there as well, if you have a standard cover letter that you use for all jobs. But the cover letter, you're going to have to tweak per job. So I don't usually recommend doing that. In addition, you want to answer all these questions. And the most important question here is signal your interest to recruiters at companies you created job alerts for. And yes, you want recruiters from these jobs that we're going to talk about how to create a job alert for, you want them to be able to see you, find you, and know that you're interested. Okay, so this is the back end, okay? We're done with the back end settings that you can tweak yourself. And now we are on the front end. Okay, so first you want to make sure you have a clear front-facing picture that shows your face with good lighting, that you are smiling, and you are wearing professional attire. And I have to say this because sometimes people put pictures that they took with their cell phone, or the picture is so important because that's the first impression that people have of you. And you want to show people that you are open, you are professional, and you are serious about how you are LinkedIn, how your image is being interpreted to other people. Professional. Then you want to give yourself a brand, give yourself a title. So for me, I put job coach, resume writer, interview expert. These are the things that I want, number one, are searchable on LinkedIn. And number two, when people don't need to spend 5 minutes reading through my profile to really understand who I am and what I bring to the table. If let's say you are a accountant, you could put like accounting professional, and maybe you specialize in different types of, like, maybe you are an Excel expert, so you could put like Excel expert, or something that adds a little color to what you bring to the table in addition to the actual profession that you're in. Then you want to click on this spot here that says open to, because the open to is going to ask you questions about how you want recruiters to interact with you. And if you do want recruiters to interact with you, I hope that you would allow recruiters to interact with you, because they should be part of your job searching process. They shouldn't be everything, but recruiters do serve a purpose. You want to make yourself visible to recruiters, and you want to have that button. You want to talk, designate specific things on that button. And then finally, on the front page, this little arrow right here, the one where it says edit profile URL, you can change your LinkedIn name so that it's easy for people to remember. So mine is www.linkedin.com/in/Jaide Massin. So if you did a search for Jaide Massin, you would find me on LinkedIn. So you can change your LinkedIn name, and I would encourage you to do something that's easy for people to remember, and always include it on your resume. Okay. All right. The next section, as you're scrolling down on your LinkedIn profile, is the About section. And what I recommend to do is you can take the information. So over here, I have a resume. This is the same resume that we talked about in our last session. So again, you don't want people to have to spend a lot of time on your profile to understand who you are. And all of these terms are searchable. So what I recommend you do is copy and paste what you have on your little summary on top here and your skill sets. And you can basically just put it like I have it here on your LinkedIn profile. If you want to add something that's, tailored to you, if you want to be a little more conversational, that's okay. If you want to add some color, some emojis, something like that, you can. But you want to keep it very straightforward, very to the point, so that somebody, again, can quickly look at it, understand what you bring to the table, and get you. Okay, so then you're going to have the experience and education section. So I don't encourage people to put all of their experience on this section, because again, we're trying to keep this quick, but you can kind of summarize what you've done. maybe in 1 or 2 sentences. And if you do have a key achievement, which is something that you've saved, made, or achieved or accomplished, you can add that to the description under each of the jobs. You also want to pick, if you have a proprietary title that the company gave you for like your, what you do, and it doesn't really translate into other industries, LinkedIn is very good about suggesting titles for you. And I would encourage that you use the LinkedIn title more than than the title that the company gave you, because again, everything on LinkedIn is searchable. So if you want to be as searchable, as visible, as findable as possible. So I would encourage you to do that. And then, when you have your education, make sure that you include the degree that you have and the dates where you graduated from, the dates where you got your degree, when you got your degree from. As far as skills and endorsements over here in this section, that's not so important. I know a lot of people like to endorse each other. It's great. It adds something to it, but it's not the most important thing. Okay,
Dave,
so
one question that I have for you. My friend that's a litigation specialist, there were times during the economy being down that they basically left the law profession and worked in casinos, from things like being a car dealer and things like that, where they had blocks of 2 or 3 years. I know they don't want to list that on their resume, but how do they fill those gaps that might be anywhere from 1 to 3 years?
Well, here's the question. If they're not listing it on the resume, oh, you mean because LinkedIn wants you to put times? So maybe,
or even on the resume, it might leave holes both on LinkedIn as well.
I would put it. I would put the information. I would put down. Perhaps I would put it on the resume. I would.
Okay.
It's part of your experience. I would find a way to put the exact position, maybe talk about it on the resume, like you would, like any job. And then, it's just part of the person's profile. If they did it for a couple years and then they went back into, you said, the law profession, and they've been doing that for a while after that, I don't see an issue with that at all.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Yeah. So we're going to finish up here with the recommendation part.
Excuse me. I have one other question. I'm older, and I've been told by others to take the dates away from the education and limit how far back my LinkedIn profile goes. What's your thoughts about that?
I agree with that. I think that, if you have like 30 years experience, you don't need to put every single job. I would keep it to, that's a really good question, actually. I would keep it to like the last 15 to 20 years. Yes, if you don't want to put the date, you don't have to. It's encouraged to I encourage people to put the date. But yes, in that situation where you are trying to, you're trying to limit ageism, which exists, and you're trying to paint a different picture, then yeah, you don't need to put, because basically it's really the last 10 years to 15 years that people are really concerned with when they are interviewing you. And 10 to 15 years of experience is definitely relevant, and a considerable amount of time to become an expert in something, So, yeah. All right. Okay, so recommendations. This part is, in my opinion, besides the about section, very, very important. And I don't see enough people having recommendations. First of all, for you to get a recommendation from somebody, you need to friend them. You need to be linked with them on LinkedIn, no pun intended. So first, make sure that you're connected. And you want to get at least 3 recommendations from either peers, coworkers, or colleagues, bosses or former bosses, direct reports or former direct reports, current or former professors, clients. They don't have to be somebody that you're currently working with. It's anybody that knows you professionally. And ideally, the people that are going to be your professional references that you're going to use when you're applying for a job. Because when you say to the hiring manager, here are my references, they can go on your LinkedIn page and actually see who these people are. And then it just builds and supports your professional profile. Okay, so before we move on, any other questions about LinkedIn profiles?
I see one from Michael. He asked how important are skill badges on LinkedIn? Are you familiar with skill badges?
I don't see those as the most important thing. You can have I mean, the stuff, I think it's fun. I think the bottom line is most people are not, most hiring managers are not viewing the skill badges and stuff like that as they're really looking for like the information on the profile that supports the role that you represent. So if you have the time and you want to add these things, great. But if you don't, it's okay too.
Cool. Yeah, he just added that he works in the graphic design field. So I don't know if there's...
If you want to, but at the end of the day, you're going to be applying for jobs. They're not looking at your LinkedIn profile going, does he have the skill badge? No, they're looking at your resume, and they're going to, and if you have a background that supports what they're looking for in the job description, they're going to call you in on the interview anyways.
Any other questions here, guys?
Okay. All right, so now we're going to switch gears and we're going to talk about job search. The first thing I tell my clients is they need to have a schedule, because if you're not currently working, then your job right now is to look for a job. And it's very overwhelming. And it's best to have a schedule because it not only keeps you focused, but it also, you can track your progress and you can analyze your activities to see if the activities that you're doing are bringing you closer to or further away from employment. And so it's like training for a marathon. You have to track your activity and see what's working and what's not. So this is a sample schedule. And, first you wake up, do something active, answer emails, get dressed. And then you want to put the jobs that you're applying to into two different categories, because it's very easy to get stuck applying for one job for like 45 minutes to an hour. And then you just killed like, an eighth of your day on one job. So what's really great about LinkedIn and about a lot of other job searching sites is you can designate, you can categorize the jobs. So some of them are like easy apply, which means it'll take you maybe 10 minutes. And then others are longer. So you can put those into two different buckets of time. So you are expecting to spend a specific amount of time doing that. And you can manage your day that way. You definitely want to get up. You want to walk around. You shouldn't be sitting at the computer all day. The way that this works is it's quick touch points. So you apply, you get up. You apply, you get up. You got to move yourself because it's very easy to get depressed and overwhelmed. And we want you to stay consistent. So you got to do things that keep you coming back and doing this on a consistent basis. And as you are consistent, then you're going to notice that instead of you constantly giving and giving and giving information, you're going to be the recipient of information. Your people are going to start calling you, and you're going to start scheduling interviews, and then you're going to adjust your schedule to accommodate that. But the point is you want to maintain your consistency, because that's the key to really finding a job in this type of market right now. And I also included networking as well. Networking is very important. So if you want to take I don't know if you can take a screenshot, but this will be recorded. So this schedule I find works very well for most people. Okay, so we're going to talk about just job searching on LinkedIn itself. And then I also listed a couple other websites that I recommend. So when you want to look for a job on LinkedIn, you click on the little up here on the top, the little briefcase, and it usually says jobs. You click on it, and then you go to the search bar. And today I just have the word accountant there. You can search anywhere in the United States. Then you want to see where the arrow says easy apply. That's where you can designate what kind of application this is. Is it going to take you 45 minutes? Is it going to take you 10 minutes? You can also see how many people applied to the job. If this position only has like 6 applicants, you probably will get a call back. So you can definitely manage your job applying activities this way. And you want to filter it, but not too much. Filter it enough so that you are still getting enough results, but not so much that you get like 5 results, because we want you to have a little more than 5 to work with that day. And then over here, you can save your search so that you can have this search emailed or texted to you on the daily or weekly. And that way you just open up your email and you already know exactly what you're doing that morning, instead of having to recreate the search over and over again. So this is just a typical way to search for a job. And other websites to check out that I recommend are Indeed.com, Glassdoor.com, and the good old standby, which is Monster.com. What's different about Glassdoor is not just a job searching site, but Glassdoor also has a section where you can get feedback from people who work at the company, and it's anonymous. So you can actually read what people write about working for that company. And it gives you a little bit of insight if you want to work for that company as well. Another way to look for a job on LinkedIn is to search by company. So for instance, you want to work for Google and you want to find out when Google has opportunities that are open for somebody like yourself. So you can create a job alert. And this goes back to that setting that we said where we want to have recruiters from these particular companies know that we are interested in working for that company. So we had on the settings section, right? So you do a search, you click on the home button over here, the top of little home, and then you do a search in the search bar for Google or whatever company you want to work for. And then over here, you click where it says jobs, where I have this orange arrow. And then you can put in the bar here, you can type in whatever job title you have, and you can do a search, and it'll tell you if it has jobs. And if it doesn't have any jobs for that title, you can create job alerts so that you will be alerted when Google has an accounting position or a sales marketing position, whatever it is. They'll tell you Google has a job available for you. Finally, you want to look over here where it has these pictures of people, because these people are in your network and they work for Google. So you can reach out to them and network with them to see perhaps maybe they can help you get in the door, or maybe they have some advice for you or some tips or interview advice, because every company has a different way of interviewing and different, they all have different. I mean, Google likes to use different behavioral based interviews. I know Facebook does. They all have different ways of interviewing, and it's always good to get a little insight before you become face to face. Okay. Any questions on job searching?
Jade, if I might, this is Tom. I just want to touch base on setting up a job alert. One of the things you may want to do is, if you're looking for a job every day, you get those emails in your email box. You might want to, before you set up the job alert, limit the look for the time frame within the last 24 hours. So you're not going back and trying to reapply for past jobs.
Yes.
And then set up the job alert.
That's a good point. You can do that on the job section under filters, yes. And you can designate how fresh you want these jobs. That's a good point, Tom. Thank you. That's
You're welcome.
Excellent. Anybody else have any questions? I know a lot of people, some people are very familiar with LinkedIn, some people are not. But it's always good to, this is like an overview so that you can basically get started, today. Okay, so let's move on to the cover letter. You will need a cover letter, and you're probably going to have to rewrite your cover letter like 8,000 times. So I have a format for you so that you can make your life easier, and you don't have to spend 10 minutes rewriting your cover letter. Okay, so I'm going to read this cover letter to you, and then I'm going to explain to you why this format works, okay? So To whom it may concern, I came across your job opening for the position of administrative assistant, and I am interested in being considered for this opportunity. I am particularly skilled at being able to multitask and thrive in a high energy environment to help a company grow. While at the Howard Center, I assisted with various research and analysis projects, which involved liaising with C-level professionals. As the administrative assistant at Pathways, I spearheaded the COVID-19 telehealth computer project, delivering personal computers to homeless individuals. In addition, having been an assistant manager at Tortorella Restaurant and Inn, I have been involved in every aspect of the day-to-day operations and personally managed the wedding season. I have a track record of process improvement and project implementation wherever I go, and I'm confident that my professional experience and personal capabilities will benefit your company if given the opportunity. I look forward to discussing this further with you as I am interested in your current open position. Please contact me at a time of your convenience, and thank you for your consideration. Sincerely, your name, your number, your email, your LinkedIn. Okay, so this is a format. This is, you're going to add your own spice, your own grammar, your own words, your own everything, but this is the format. So the part one, which is the first paragraph, you need to identify the position that you're applying to. You need to show your interest, and you want to highlight 3 to 4 exact skills that they are talking about. So, you know, in this is an entry level type of position that this person is applying to. But, you know, if it's like, again, I'll talk about accounting. If it's like an accounting role and they're looking for somebody who knows how to do VLOOKUPs and knows how to do reconciliation and stuff like that, you want to say right away that you know how to do X, Y, and Z with no explanation. Okay, so that it's they know that they should keep reading. Okay, the second paragraph is where you're gonna go into a little more detail, and you want to pick 3 to 4 examples of how you have accomplished these tasks that are similar to what the job posting is looking for. And so what I recommend people doing is they feel like, oh, I have to rewrite this over and over again. No, maybe you choose that day or that week, you're going to apply to staff accounting positions. You're just going to apply to staff accounting positions that week. And so you can reuse the cover letter in many different ways because a staff accounting position is relatively similar overall. So you can reuse this cover letter, just tweaking a little bit. Okay, and then the third section, you want to reiterate your interest because it's very important that you show that you're excited and you're interested in the job. And you want to talk about, again, how you added value or how you can add value to them. And then you want to tell them to call you. And that's it. And make sure you have your contact information on the bottom so that it's very easy for them to find you, that they don't have to search for it. If you notice, I'm not saying I am amazing, I am this, I am that. Everything is framed within the lens of I have done this because you are looking for this, and I've done it and I have made, saved, or achieved something for somebody else. And that's the lens that you want to be when you structure your cover letter on how you want to communicate. So anybody have any questions?
Sonia, one question I had, do you think it helped? I'm sorry, Jaide.
I forgot to mention the C-level stuff. I'll talk about that in a second.
Does it make sense to maybe drop in a few bullet points for some of your soft skills, or do you think leaving it in paragraph form might be the best for the cover letter?
On the job, it's a good question, Tom. I forgot to mention this one thing, and I'll touch upon that. So if you are like a C-level person, or you're applying for a position that requires, let's say, more technical experience, it's okay to have an addendum. So for instance, when I was placing CFOs, for a while I was doing CFOs for companies that are looking to be acquired or companies that are looking to go public. And so they wanted somebody that had the typical CFO background, who can roll up their sleeves, get into the day-to-day, but also knew how to communicate and get the company prepared for acquisition. And those are 2 different skills. Okay. And so they wanted somebody who had it and also did it before, so that, you know, that they've done it before. It wasn't their first rodeo. So what we would do is we would have the cover letter, but the cover letter had a bunch of bullets, so that the hiring, and it was expected that these people at that level, because they've been working for such a long time, would have a lot of experience that was very transferable. So if that's the case for you, then you would maybe want to do that. Instead of just a 3-paragraph cover letter, you have it bulleted, but you want to make sure that those bullets, like, you know, answer that question, why should we hire you? Because if those bullets are not related to the job description, then then why are they reading it, you know? So if you are somebody, maybe you are you are applying for positions in a technical field where you need to know specific software and you need to have specific technical experience, you can maybe do that as well, so that it's easy for the person to see it right away, that those technical things are right on that cover letter. And of course, you would have it right on your resume as well, bulleted, you know, on the back, where you have like a technical experience. But yes, the cover letter is like a taste of what you bring to the table, so that they'll continue reading more.
Excellent. Does anyone have any other questions here on the cover letter?
All right.
Okay. Jay, do you have any? Okay, there we go.
This is me. So, so again, this is an overview, and to get you started. And if you do have specific questions, specific things that are related to you and your job search or anything, you can always reach out to me. I answer all questions. I'll give you a free consultation, because a lot of stuff that people have issues with are very specific, usually, you know, and specific resume questions, all that stuff. So I'm very approachable. I answer all emails. I answer all phone calls. Don't be shy.
Jade, this is Henry again. I was unable to attend last week on the resume, and I just noticed when you showed your resume, you had just the format that you used at the top. If you could just speak to that quickly,
Yes.
what those sections are.
Okay, so I have it over here. I hope you can see it. So you have your name, your contact information. You want to make sure like your email and your LinkedIn are hyperlinked so that somebody can click on it. And we don't do the objective anymore. Objective is antiquated. We do a summary. And the summary is basically your 5-minute elevator speech. It's what you bring to the table, in a selling way about, you know, and you're touching upon maybe like the 3 to 4 key things about you that you really are proud of. So for instance, this person is a talent acquisition director, and they're good at building a best-in-class recruitment experience. They're very comfortable in high growth environments, and they have experience with working for a global company that focuses on diversity and inclusion. And those are the 3 or 4 things that are very specific to that person's profile that they bring to the table that's different than other people, or that they just feel that those are the types of roles that they've had that they enjoy, and they'd like to repeat a role like that. And you can use those terms for your personal branding on your LinkedIn profile as well. So this person would have, you know, director of talent acquisition, diversity and inclusion, global growth company, something like that on their LinkedIn profile as well. Then the next section is where you would write key skills. And these key skills are terms that are generally accepted by most companies that are searchable with the applicant tracking systems, that also job postings would have as well, so that if the person reading your resume they don't have to read the whole thing. They can really see if you have what they're looking for, and it's right on top. And this is just more information for you to use on your cover letter, more information for you to put on your LinkedIn profile, and it just makes you more searchable. And then you would follow a specific format when you're writing your the experience. So you want to always list the company name, the location, the time frame that you were there, a little sentence about the industry, the size of the company, how many employees, and anything specific, like for instance, this person worked for a company that was recently acquired, so that she's mentioning that because if they were to look for this company now, maybe it would be associated with another company, so that the reader understands that it has changed, right? And then you would list your title, and then you would break up your responsibilities or your activities into two categories. You want to have what's your day-to-day, then you want to have the key achievements, which are things that you've saved, made, or achieved, because those are the things that set you apart from other people. And those are the things that hiring managers want to hear. They want to know what you bring to the table. What is your added value? What is your feature benefit? Why should we hire you? And these
Yeah,
are the things.
Jade, I have to say I love that, because so many people, when I've read thousands of resumes as an executive, I read statements, I don't read results. And by reading results, that drives me to want to bring that candidate in for an interview even more.
Thanks, Tom. You are so right, because somebody who is also a person that is aware of their accomplishments, aware of their results, is bottom line self-aware. And a hiring manager wants to hire somebody who's self-aware, because when you hire somebody, it's a partnership. It's you're partnering with this company, and you are aligning yourself with the company's mission statement so that the company can grow and you yourself can add value and grow. And if that's your mentality, then that's very attractive to hiring managers, because they don't just want somebody who's going to do the day-to-day. They want somebody who's going to want to grow themselves, because it benefits the company if they also want to grow. It benefits everybody. So by being that self-aware, it just shows that you're reaching there. You're hireable, and somebody that they would want to have as part of your team. That's just my interpretation of it, but it's true. And then unfortunately, Henry, this resume is a little longer than this little section here, but I had given different examples of how to detail your information based on different scenarios. And then at the back, you would put your education and your software skills, any certifications you've had. And that's how to do a resume in a nutshell.
And I guess the only question I have is that section that's the key skills. I mean, just getting those terms down to optimize the search results. Any good sources for that, or is it just keep looking at the job postings and find the ones that keep coming up for you?
Well, a great tool is with Microsoft Word. With Office 365, the most recent Microsoft Word has a new feature where if you have your document open in front of you and you go to the scroll bar on top, you'll see a tab that says Review. If you click on Review, then you'll see another button all the way to the right that says Resume Assist. And if you start typing in, you can put in a link. It's actually Word and LinkedIn Microsoft and LinkedIn have kind of joined forces, and a bar will open up, and you can type in your title, and it'll give you keyword suggestions that are pulled off of job postings or pulled off of different search engines that may help you come up with these key terms. In addition to looking at job postings.
Yeah, I would agree. There's a lot of sites. You can go to salary.com, or you can go to a lot of sites that will say, what are the key skills and responsibilities? And those are probably packed with a lot of keywords. But if you look at 20 different job descriptions, you'll typically find at least 10, 12, 15, 20 different skill sets that keep coming up over and over. And those are definitely things you want to fill to hit the ATS or application tracking systems that are out there.
Yep, that's right.
Thank you.
I had a question about like maybe someone who's more early on in their career and has like say graphic design, I think was someone's in that, maybe like a personal project that they've done on the side that doesn't necessarily fit into a certain job. Is there anywhere, do you see that as being appropriate to list on a resume, you know, something that's relevant to the job, but maybe something that's not necessarily?
So what I have found with a lot of people that are creatives, you know, that do graphic design or artists, or, you know, even in publishing, sometimes they may have their own personal website, which has their art or whatever else they're trying to, you know, their portfolio, and they can list their website under their name. They can list their website maybe under the name of a specific company that they work for, where they're talking about a project. They can also, when they're applying for jobs, the job questions will say, do you have a portfolio that you can send to us? So, you know, they have their own way of demonstrating their added value. That's a little different than a typical resume.
Cool. Yeah, that's helpful. Any other questions about, feel free to go into your specific, you know, specific industry. If anyone has questions about kind of challenges they're facing or questions regarding.
You know, Jade, interestingly enough, I did have a marketing senior director that I was hiring. He had, interestingly enough, on his background behind his picture, he had like a marketing thing that he had created as a background on LinkedIn, and it really stood out. And when I saw that, I thought, well, I'm going to change my background on my LinkedIn to highlight my profession in artificial intelligence and leading in software development, things like that. I thought that was pretty amazing.
Yeah,
and that really stood out.
LinkedIn is great. I mean, you can get a little creative. You can get creative with LinkedIn, you know. You can express yourself more than you could on a resume, definitely. And you are also, I hope this person had a website or some kind of portfolio, online portfolio, where you can add your website address. You can even on LinkedIn. I mean, we didn't cover this because it's not something that is necessary right away. But there's a right after the about section, there's a featured section, and you can add maybe, let's say you have articles you've written or stuff you were featured in, or maybe you have a link to your online portfolio, or you have a YouTube channel, or et cetera, any kind of media that you want to display. You can add it to that featured section. It's right there. And LinkedIn will prompt you for this. They'll say, you haven't added to your featured section. Would you like to? So LinkedIn is very user friendly. They want you to put more content on your LinkedIn profile. The only thing that I would encourage people to do is try to keep the content that you put on that profile, keep it supporting your ultimate goal, whatever that goal is. Because if you have information that is not supporting the job that you're looking for, it gets confusing for the reader. So you want everything to kind of be streamlined and in the same direction.
I love that, Jade. And one of the things that I've done is, you know, if you include articles, when you post, do a URL to an article relating to your profession. And then secondly, if you're going to interview for a company, follow that company. And if there's any interesting posts that company does, post those posts on your own LinkedIn. The company, when they go to your LinkedIn, they'll see that and know that you're already engaged with the company, and you're already following them, and you are basically doing a lot of due diligence in analyzing that company.
That's great advice, Tom. I'm so glad you're here, Tom. I remember last time
Thank
you added so much to this. So thank you. Thank you for what's great about Tom. Tom is a hiring manager. So Tom knows what people are looking for. So that's great. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, well, last chance for any questions. Otherwise, we can wrap up early. There's no reason to stay on. Does anyone have any questions going once? All right, going 3 times. Okay, well, thank you all so much for coming. Jade, thank you for putting all this together. I got a lot out of it. And it seems like people were pretty engaged. So thanks everyone for coming. And these will be on YouTube. If you missed any of these on the Kettle Space YouTube, I'll send out a follow-up email after this. And if you guys could just leave feedback for Jade, she's always tweaking this presentation, so it'll be very much appreciated. Jade, do you have anything to add?
No, I wish you all the best of luck in your job search. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to help you.
Awesome. Okay. Well, everyone have a great day, and hope to see you soon.
Thank you both.